I'm Christy.
Standing in the renovated community room of Riverside Apartments, I watch as Mrs. Thompson arranges flowers on the buffet table. The morning sun filters through the new energy, efficient windows, highlighting the freshly painted warm sandstone walls. It's been 6 months since the court victory, and sometimes I still wake up thinking it was all a dream. "Christy, where should I put the punch bowl?" asks Mrs. Thompson, our resident liaison, her silver hair catching the light as she turns. "Next to the cookies," I reply, adjusting the commemorative plaque we're unveiling today. My fingers trace the engraved words, Eleanor Davis Community Room, where neighbors become family. Mr. Rodriguez from 3B walks in, carrying a homemade cake. "Just like I promised," he says, "my mother's recipe to celebrate our new heating system." My phone buzzes with a message from Mr. Harris, our permanent legal counsel. The court denied Olivia's final appeal. "Congratulations, this chapter is officially closed." A weight lifts from my shoulders. After the trial exposed her financial manipulations, Olivia's law firm put her on leave. Last I heard, she took a job at a smaller firm across town. The phone rings again. It's my parents. After months of awkward conversations, they've slowly started to admit what happened. "We're running late," my mother says, her voice hesitant. "Your father wanted to bring those photo albums you asked about." As I put down the phone, Mrs. Thompson appears at my side. "You never wanted to fight," she observes quietly. "You just wanted fairness." "I never thought I'd win," I admit, straightening the brochures for our tenant assistance program. She squeezes my hand. "Eleanor knew you would. That's why she left you everything you needed." I nod, remembering Grandma Eleanor's whispered words years ago. "Your sister seeks power. You seek connection. Remember which one builds a legacy." It all started on a Friday night. I was sitting cross-legged on my living room floor, surrounded by tenant maintenance requests. Mr. Peterson needed his leaky faucet fixed before the weekend. The Browns on the 3rd floor reported their heater, making strange noises. Mrs. Garcia wanted permission to install a ceiling fan. It was just another Friday night for me, sorting through others' small problems while sipping lukewarm coffee. Then the doorbell rang. It was 7:15 p.m. No one visits without calling first, especially not on a Friday. When I opened the door, my sister Olivia stood there, with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Her designer coat probably cost more than 3 months of my rent. "Christy," she said, her voice bright but brittle. "May I come in?" Before I could answer, she brushed past me into my apartment, her high-heeled shoes clicking on the hardwood floors. She looked around my living room, at the stack of maintenance requests, the half-empty coffee mug, and the couch with a throw blanket Grandma Eleanor had crocheted for me years ago. "You've always been so dedicated," she said, but it sounded more like an accusation. She pulled an envelope from her leather portfolio. "I came to deliver this personally, as a courtesy." The paper felt unusually heavy in my hands. When I opened it, I couldn't believe my eyes. It was a rent increase notice, from $2,200 to $6,800. "You can't be serious," I said. "I've lived here for 5 years. Fair market value, little sister." "Business is business," she said, adjusting her expensive watch. "The family voted last weekend. We're repositioning all the properties for maximum return." I remembered last weekend at my parents' house. She'd shrugged and said, "You should come to more family gatherings. Important decisions get made." Now I realized that everyone at the table had already decided about Riverside Apartments. My parents had changed the subject when I mentioned it, and my cousins had exchanged knowing glances. I felt my pulse quicken and my mouth go dry. As I refolded the notice, I thought, when they let her crush me in silence, they never imagined that silence would become my weapon. I told her I'd need to review it with my attorney. She laughed sharply. "What attorney would waste time on this? The building's legally mine. The transfer papers were signed last month." This wasn't just about my apartment. It was about my home, my dignity, and my last connection to Grandma Eleanor. It was also about the tenants like Mrs. Thompson in 2B, who lived on Social Security and baked cookies for everyone at Christmas, and Mr. Peterson, who'd been in the building for 40 years and knew every creaking floorboard. Do Mom and Dad know about this? I asked, though I already knew the answer. Of course, she said, checking her watch. Your sister manages all the family assets. She knows what she's doing. The smile on her face was about winning, about finally pushing me out of Grandma Eleanor's legacy. Just then, my phone buzzed with a text from Mrs.
Thompson.
Come down for tea, dear. You look upset. I saw Olivia arrive. She'd lived in the building for 40 years and was Grandma Eleanor's best friend before she became mine. Olivia noticed the message. The tenants aren't your concern anymore, she said. I'll handle communications going forward. Mrs. Thompson has lived here since before we were born, I said. Grandfather clauses are for sentimental fools, she replied. The market doesn't care about Christmas cookies and below market rent. Just then, Mrs. Thompson appeared in the doorway, her silver hair neatly pinned back, carrying her favorite teapot on a small tray. I thought we could use some chamomile, she said, walking in without waiting for an invitation. At 72, she'd earned the right to ignore certain social norms. Olivia tried to be polite. Mrs. Thompson, we were just discussing some business matters. I heard, Mrs. Thompson said, setting down the tea tray. She stood up straight, all 5 feet 2 inches of her. I knew your grandmother for 50 years, Olivia. What would Eleanor say about this? For a moment, Olivia's perfect mask slipped. Then she recovered, smoothed her coat, and headed for the door. 30 days notice, Christy. It's all perfectly legal. When the door closed, Mrs. Thompson poured tea into 2 cups. Some battles need preparation, not immediate confrontation, she said, handing me a steaming cup. Eleanor faced vultures like this her whole life. She taught me how to handle them. The chamomile's gentle aroma calmed me. A thought formed in my mind. I need to check Grandma's old papers, I said. Mrs. Thompson smiled. I was hoping you'd say that. 2 days later, I finally gathered the courage to get Grandma Eleanor's financial records from my storage unit. As I opened the first folder, the papers inside told a story I never imagined. Bank statements, property deeds, email printouts. Each document showed another piece of Olivia's systematic destruction of Eleanor's legacy. An email from Olivia to a luxury development firm caught my eye. Once we secure full control of Riverside, we can start converting to high-end condos. Initial estimates suggest a 300% return on investment within 18 months. The date on the email was 2 weeks after Eleanor's funeral. Another folder had minutes from a family trust meeting 6 years ago. Olivia had convinced our parents to sell the lake house, the one Eleanor had specifically said she wanted me to have someday. Market conditions favor immediate liquidation, Olivia had argued. My parents had agreed without hesitation, saying it was for the family's financial security. I found rental increase notices for all the senior tenants. Olivia was targeting everyone, not just me. Mr. Peterson's rent would jump to $5,600 and Mrs. Daniels to $6,200. Mrs. Thompson knocked softly and came in with a tray of sandwiches and tea. What else have you found?
She asked.
I held up a handwritten note in Grandma Eleanor's script. Riverside must remain in the family. The legacy must be protected. I whispered. She knew what Olivia would try to do. As Mrs. Thompson poured tea, I continued sorting through the folders. A pattern emerged. Olivia had been positioning herself even before Eleanor's illness, making small transfers, revising legal documents, and quietly consolidating authority while everyone else looked the other way. Your grandmother was no fool, Mrs. Thompson said, handing me a steaming cup. She watched Olivia for years. I realized that Eleanor hadn't just been kind when she asked me to help with her financial records in her final months. She'd been preparing me, training me. The weekends spent reviewing property maintenance costs, the afternoons learning about tax assessments. She'd been arming me for this moment. I sat up straighter and started organizing the papers into strategic piles, evidence of financial misconduct, documentation of tenant mistreatment, and records of property ownership and transfer. I recognized the pattern in Olivia's timing. She'd struck after Eleanor's death, after Mr. Thompson's divorce, and after the Petersons' medical bills. Predators target the wounded, Mrs. Thompson nodded. But I knew being a lawyer didn't make Olivia invincible. I needed to be more prepared. Then Olivia called. "You have a week to decide," she said. "I'm being generous giving you notice at all. The market won't wait." "I'll need more time to review everything," I replied. "There's nothing to review," she snapped. "The decision is made. Mom and Dad agree." My phone buzzed with a text from my mother. "Your sister has carried this family financially for years. We owe her." After the call, I found more evidence of Olivia's desperation. A legal brief showed a high-profile case her firm lost last month. Bank notices indicated mortgage extension requests on her new house. Credit card statements revealed mounting debts. This wasn't just greed. She was desperate. Mrs. Thompson looked at the documents. "This makes her dangerous." A text from my father confirmed my suspicions. "Family gathering next Sunday to finalize arrangements.
Be there."
"A week," I murmured. "She's giving me a week before it all falls apart." Mrs. Thompson suddenly stood up. "You need Mr. Harris, Eleanor's attorney, not the family firm." She called him. By the time she came back, I'd filled 3 boxes with organized evidence. "Mr. Harris will see us tomorrow morning," she announced. "He says he's been expecting our call." She pointed to a sealed envelope I hadn't opened. The handwriting on it read, "For Christy, when the time comes." With trembling fingers, I opened it. A single sheet of paper with Grandma's elegant handwriting said, "When the time comes, Mr. Harris has everything you need. Remember what I told you. Your sister seeks power. You seek connection, and connection will always outlast power." For the first time in 3 days, I felt a sense of certainty. "This isn't about feelings anymore," I said, closing the file folder. "It's about facts." The next day in Mr. Harris's office, he told me something that changed everything. "Your grandmother left you $900,000 in a private trust 3 years ago. With that money, you formed Davis Holdings LLC with my help." Davis Holdings then bought Riverside Apartments from the family trust. I picked up the mortgage papers and saw my signature. I remembered Grandma Eleanor asking me to sign some contingency paperwork when she was still lucid. I trusted her completely, never questioning why. "Olivia never bothered to verify the ownership transfer after your grandmother's passing. She just assumed control," Mr. Harris said, his eyes twinkling. "So, all this time, I'd been the actual owner." "Precisely, Mr. Harris said. Your grandmother made you manager of Davis Holdings. You've legally owned Riverside Apartments for 3 years, while your sister has just been an unauthorized property manager." A laugh escaped me, surprising both of us. Grandma Eleanor planned this all along. "She was very strategic," Mr. Harris said, sliding a sealed envelope toward me. "Eleanor left this for when the time came." The envelope contained a single sheet of paper with Grandma's writing. "Don't chase her approval. Build your own ground." I knew then that this wasn't just about winning a battle. It was about protecting what Grandma Eleanor had built, the community she'd created. Olivia scheduled a family meeting. At the meeting, she was about to announce eviction notices for late, paying tenants. But when Mr. Harris walked in with his leather portfolio, everything changed. I announced Mr. Harris as our legal counsel for Davis Holdings LLC. The room erupted in confusion. Olivia stammered, "That's impossible. I would know if the building had been sold." Mr. Harris slid the deed across the table. "Everything was done legally. Your grandmother made sure all the proper filings were made." My cousin Rachel, with her accounting background, quickly understood the situation. "These look legitimate. Christy owns Riverside through an LLC," she said. Mr. Harris added calmly, "Any eviction notices or rent increases would need Christy's authorization as the legal owner." Olivia sank into her chair. Her control over me, the building, and the narrative crumbled. After the meeting, the tenants at Riverside were overjoyed. They shared stories of Olivia's neglect and intimidation, which only strengthened my resolve to protect them. But Olivia didn't give up easily. She filed an emergency motion with the county court, challenging the LLC formation, claiming Eleanor was mentally compromised when she transferred ownership. My parents tried to convince me to back down. "Your sister has always protected us all," my mother said. "She knows what she's doing." But I refused. I remembered all the evidence we'd gathered, all the support from the tenants. Mrs. Thompson had already called 12 long-term tenants to be character witnesses for Eleanor's mental state. At the emergency hearing, Olivia's attorney argued that Davis Holdings LLC was formed under questionable circumstances, that Eleanor was old and taking medications that could impair judgment. But Mr. Harris was ready. He played a video of Eleanor, recorded 3 weeks before she passed away. In the video, Eleanor clearly stated her decision to transfer ownership of Riverside to Davis Holdings LLC, saying that I had the commitment to continue her legacy. Mr. Harris also presented documentation of Eleanor's medical evaluations, showing her cognitive functions were excellent until the end. And he showed the financial records of Olivia's mismanagement, including the $80,000 of maintenance funds she diverted for her personal use. Mrs. Thompson testified about the deteriorating conditions under Olivia's management. Under Olivia, our heat failed twice last winter. 3 elderly tenants got respiratory infections, she said. When it was my turn to testify, I told the judge, "I'm not trying to punish anyone. I'm trying to protect what my grandmother built. Riverside isn't just an asset. It's a community where people have lived for decades." After closing arguments, the judge reviewed the evidence. Finally, she looked up and said, "I find that the formation of Davis Holdings LLC and the subsequent property transfer were executed properly by Eleanor Davis, while she was fully competent to make such decisions. This court upholds Christie's ownership and management rights to Riverside Apartments through Davis Holdings LLC." Relief flooded through me. The judge also ordered a full accounting of Riverside's finances during Olivia's management and that any misappropriated funds be repaid within 60 days. As I walked out of the courthouse, surrounded by the tenants, I knew that Grandma Eleanor's legacy was safe. And I learned that power without compassion is just control, while connection builds a lasting legacy.